Have you ever wondered what lies behind locked doors, guarded for centuries? Vaults sealed not with padlocks, but with silence, fear, and forgotten oaths? Beneath the opulent splendor of Vatican City, beneath the polished marble corridors and candlelit cathedrals, lies a hidden realm, a place whispered about in secret societies and shrouded in speculation by historians and mystics alike. The Vatican Apostolic Archive, formerly known as the Vatican Secret Archive, is not merely a storehouse of old parchments and papal decrees. No, it is something far more enigmatic. Some say it is a chamber of forbidden truths, where ancient scrolls breathe secrets that could shake the foundations of faith, rewrite human history, and awaken sleeping souls. Imagine this. A text so ancient it predates the birth of Christ, yet resides in the holiest chambers of the Catholic Church. A document describing the teachings of a Messiah that history erased, or a forbidden gospel that portrays the divine not as an external God, but as a light hidden within each of us. What if such texts weren't destroyed, but hidden, guarded, protected? Why? Why would a spiritual institution, one devoted to truth and salvation, keep such treasures away from the world? The answers, my friend, lie deeper than theology. They touch the very heart of human consciousness, power, and the battle between spiritual awakening and control. In this video, we journey beyond the veil of official history. We'll uncover the origins of the Vatican's secret archives, why they were formed, and what they're rumored to contain. We'll explore the philosophical and spiritual implications of knowledge kept from the masses, gospels that never made it into the Bible, ancient rites that connect the body with celestial realms, and mystical maps that hint at civilizations lost in time. But this is not just a tale of dusty scrolls and forgotten relics. No, this is a call to awakening, because what the Vatican may be hiding from the world might just be the key to unlocking what lies dormant within you.
To understand the enigma of the Vatican's secret archives, we must peel back the layers of time, not merely to examine history, but to listen to the heartbeat of civilization itself. The archives were officially established in 1612 by Pope Paul V. But make no mistake, this was not the beginning. The Church had been collecting documents, letters, scrolls, and esoteric manuscripts for centuries prior. Some say the collection began with the fall of the Roman Empire, when the Church seized the imperial libraries of emperors and philosophers. Others claim it began even earlier, as early Christians hid Gnostic scrolls from Roman persecution, preserving them like sacred embers, waiting to reignite the soul of mankind. What is certain is this: the Vatican Apostolic Archive contains over 53 miles of shelving, with over 35,000 volumes, and only a fraction of it is accessible to the public. The rest, cloaked in the shadows of classification. The deeper you go, the less you are allowed to see. But what kind of knowledge could be so dangerous? Let's recall that throughout history, knowledge has been more than information. It has been power. From the burning of the Library of Alexandria to the suppression of indigenous wisdom during colonial conquests, there is a recurring theme. Those in control have often determined what truth should look like. The philosopher Giordano Bruno knew this well. He spoke of an infinite universe, of stars as suns with their own worlds, ideas that challenged the Church's geocentric cosmos. For that, he was burned at the stake in 1600, not because his science was incorrect, but because his truth was inconvenient. And consider the Gospel of Thomas, a mystical, non-canonical gospel unearthed in Nag Hammadi, Egypt in 1945. It contains sayings of Jesus that point not to a distant God, but to the divine spark within. "The kingdom of God is inside you, and it is outside you," it reads. "When you know yourselves, then you will be known." Such teachings elevate personal gnosis, inner knowing, over institutional mediation. To a hierarchical religious structure, that kind of wisdom is not just unorthodox, it is revolutionary. So what else might the Vatican be guarding? Rumors abound. Some speak of the chronovisor, a device allegedly created by a Benedictine monk that allowed viewers to witness past and future events. Others whisper of hidden gospels, those of Mary Magdalene, Judas, or even a pre-Christian mystery school founded by Essenes, teaching soul ascension and sacred geometry. Whether these are myth or fact is not the point. What matters is this: the pattern. Throughout history, secret teachings have been the heartbeat of mystery schools, passed orally, symbolically, and ritually to protect their potency from corruption. From the Hermetic schools of Egypt to the Kabbalists of ancient Israel, to the Sufis dancing in the silence of God, truth has often worn the veil of secrecy to survive the tides of suppression. And so we must ask ourselves, could the Vatican's Secret Archives be the modern embodiment of that same ancient pattern, guardians of wisdom too transformative for the world as it currently stands? What is hidden is not often what we cannot handle, but what would change everything if we did.
The vaults of the Vatican may be lined with gold and guarded by walls of silence, but the greatest secrets they protect are not behind locked doors. They are behind the veil of perception. We have explored the possibility that hidden gospels, forbidden rites, lost civilizations, and sacred technologies lie dormant beneath the polished corridors of power. We have examined how suppression is often cloaked in piety, and how spiritual truths have been preserved not to be destroyed, but to be revealed only to those who are ready. But perhaps the most profound revelation is this: what we seek in the darkness of sealed archives is already glowing quietly within us. The texts hidden in the Vatican may one day surface. The chronovisor may be uncovered. Ancient scrolls may find their way back into the hands of the people. But the deeper revolution will not come from the lifting of veils in Rome. It will come from the lifting of veils in your mind, your heart, your soul. So ask yourself, what if the path to divine wisdom was never meant to be centralized, canonized, or authorized, but remembered, reborn, and realized in you? The Vatican hides its archives because humanity has been conditioned to look outwards. But those who walk the mystic path know, all temples crumble, all scrolls fade, only inner truth endures. Now, the invitation is before you. Seek not merely what has been hidden, become what was forgotten. And if this message resonates, then you are not just a seeker of truth, you are its guardian, its living testament. The time for secret knowledge is ending. The time for awakened souls is now.
So the question remains, if such knowledge exists, if ancient scrolls and secret teachings are buried beneath centuries of stone and silence, what can we do with that truth? How does this affect the soul sitting at the edge of its awakening? Because mystery, no matter how well guarded, ultimately serves no purpose if it cannot be lived. Let's begin with a core idea repeated throughout many of the texts believed to be hidden. The kingdom of God is within you. This is not just poetic language, it is a radical metaphysical assertion. It suggests that every soul has access to divine intelligence, not through intermediaries, but through direct experience. To access this inner archive, begin with what ancient mystics called inner stillness, a state beyond thought, beyond form, where the soul becomes receptive. This is not mere meditation, but sacred attention. Each day set aside time to sit in silence, not to seek visions or answers, but to become a vessel for remembrance. Here is a simple yet powerful technique drawn from esoteric traditions that parallel those rumored to be in the Vatican archives. The flame of gnosis practice. Create sacred space. Light a candle, not for light, but as a symbol. Imagine it as the flame of your inner knowing. Sit before it with reverence. Breathe in fours,
Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and pause for 4. This is the breath of the Tetragrammaton, aligning you with sacred geometries of balance. Invoke the question. Gently ask inwardly, what am I forgetting that my soul already knows? Then say nothing. Just listen. Witness the inner archive. You may see nothing, or images may arise, memories, symbols, feelings. Do not judge, just witness. Close in gratitude. Bow your head. Thank the hidden realms for their wisdom, whether you received a whisper or a silence. Both are answers. Practices like these do not require permission from popes or prophets. They require presence. In addition to this inner work, begin your own spiritual archive. Keep a journal, not of your daily errands, but of your dreams, synchronicities, intuitions. Over time, patterns will emerge. You are writing your own gospel, one that cannot be censored because it lives within. For those who feel called, study the apocryphal Gospels, the Gnostic texts, the Hermetica. Approach them not as dogma, but as mirrors, reflecting what has long slept in your DNA. Let them awaken the part of you that knows truth not by logic, but by resonance. And lastly, remember this. You are the archive. You are the temple. What the Vatican guards in secret chambers, you carry in every cell of your being. They may hide scrolls, but they cannot lock the soul. So reclaim your sacred memory, not as rebellion, but as reunion.
To continue our descent into the vaults of the Vatican's hidden knowledge, we must now look beyond artifacts and alleged relics. We must peer into the symbolic architecture of power and ask, what is the true purpose of concealment? Secrets, especially spiritual ones, are rarely buried without cause. In the ancient world, initiation was everything. Knowledge was not freely given. It was earned through purification, through moral trials, through alignment with cosmic law. Mystery schools across Egypt, Greece, Persia, and India knew that divine truth, if given to the unprepared, could destroy rather than liberate. And herein lies the paradox. Some believe the Vatican archives are not merely a vault of lost texts, but a modern-day mystery school in reverse, hoarding sacred knowledge, not to elevate humanity, but to delay its awakening. Not out of pure malice, but perhaps out of fear. For if every soul were to realize its divine potential, what would become of priesthoods, hierarchies, or intermediaries? One of the most unsettling aspects whispered about the archives is the presence of ritual manuals, not of Christian origin, but derived from ancient Babylonian, Egyptian, and even Druidic rites. Rituals that align the practitioner not with dogma, but with natural forces, lunar rhythms, planetary harmonics, and the energy centers of the human body. Could the Vatican have absorbed not just Christian, but pre-Christian technologies of the soul? And if so, are these being used quietly, strategically, behind closed doors, not for the masses, but for a select few? Then there is the issue of altered history. There are documents in the archives that purportedly challenge mainstream historical timelines, suggesting that certain biblical events were symbolic rather than literal, or that entire centuries may have been fabricated to align historical records with ecclesiastical authority. This theory, known in fringe circles as the phantom time hypothesis, proposes that entire chunks of history, possibly 300 years, were inserted or manipulated to reinforce power structures. While controversial, it asks a deeper question. Who writes history, and what is the cost of forgetting? Consider the possibility of Atlantean records. maps or texts detailing a forgotten civilization, one that mastered both spiritual and technological wisdom, only to fall from hubris or cataclysm. Plato spoke of Atlantis as a historical reality, passed down from Egyptian priests. What if the Vatican holds remnants of these lost records, hidden not because they are myths, but because they reveal a pattern that threatens modern paradigms? Patterns such as civilizations rise and fall in cycles, knowledge is preserved in symbols, and those who control the narrative of the past control the destiny of the future. And still deeper, the possibility of apocalyptic prophecies, scrolls predicting not just natural disasters, but psychological shifts, planetary alignments, and epochs where humanity would be forced to choose between spiritual evolution and digital slavery. Some researchers believe that prophecies from the Third Secret of Fatima, partially revealed but widely believed to be censored, speak not only of religious upheaval, but of a worldwide awakening and the resistance it would provoke. Could the Vatican be hiding not just secrets, but signs? Clues that humanity is nearing a precipice and that a suppressed awakening is rising from the cracks of doctrine. And perhaps the most terrifying idea of all, what if we already know? What if these so-called secrets resonate with us not because they are alien, but because they are ancient truths buried in our collective soul, truths that institutions can hide, but never fully erase? The soul remembers, and as consciousness expands, the veils grow thinner. What was once hidden in marble halls may soon be revealed in the mirror of your own being.
Let us now begin to open the gates, to step into the labyrinth of the Vatican's secret archives, not with torches of dogma, but with the lantern of discernment. What precisely might the Church be hiding? The archives are said to contain documents dating back over 1,200 years. Many are mundane, papal letters, diplomatic correspondence, and canon law. But interspersed among these are the documents cloaked in whispers, those said to possess the power to alter our understanding of divinity, history, and even the fabric of reality. Let us begin with the Forbidden Gospels. In 325 AD, the Council of Nicaea, under the order of Emperor Constantine, compiled what would become the foundation of the Christian Bible. But dozens, perhaps hundreds of texts were excluded. The Gospel of Mary, for example, speaks of Mary Magdalene not as a mere follower, but as the closest disciple, one who grasped the spiritual essence of Christ's teachings more profoundly than the others. In it, Peter challenges her authority, a foreshadowing of the institutional church's discomfort with feminine wisdom and gnosis. What if such a gospel, or others like it, still exist in the Vatican archives? Hidden not because they are false, but because they awaken autonomy, feminine divinity, and direct communion with the sacred. Next, consider the possibility of pre-Christian scrolls preserved from ancient mystery schools. Texts describing astral travel, reincarnation, sacred geometry, and alchemical transmutation. There is compelling evidence that early Christianity was influenced by these esoteric traditions. The Dead Sea Scrolls and the Nag Hammadi Library give us only a glimpse. Could the archives hold the full tapestry? Imagine a manuscript that connects the teachings of Jesus with the Essenes, a Jewish mystical sect known for their asceticism and profound spiritual discipline. Some scholars speculate that Jesus himself may have trained among them, learning techniques of inner purification, light-body activation, and divine union that were never meant for mass consumption. Such knowledge would not only redefine his legacy, but reframe Christianity as a continuation of an older, universal spiritual science. And then there is the chronovisor, a device rumored to be developed by Father Pellegrino Arnetti in the 1950s, with the help of Vatican engineers and even physicists such as Enrico Fermi. This device, if real, could access electromagnetic imprints of past events, essentially allowing someone to see history. Ernetti claimed to have viewed the crucifixion of Christ. If such a device exists, or if the concept behind it holds weight, then time itself is not linear, but layered, recordable, and traversable. What would such a revelation mean for our understanding of karma, memory, prophecy, and the continuity of consciousness? Yet perhaps the most unsettling possibility is the existence of documents relating to extraterrestrial contact, not in the Hollywood sense, but as metaphysical intelligences, celestial watchers mentioned in the Book of Enoch. This text, once revered and then banned, speaks of angels descending from the heavens, interbreeding with humans, and teaching forbidden arts, metallurgy, sorcery, astrology. Why was it removed from the canonical Bible? And why would the Vatican keep copies? Is it possible that some beings once revered as angels were in fact advanced intelligences, guardians perhaps, or jailers? The Vatican Observatory, the oldest astronomical research institute in the world, is not merely symbolic. It reflects a long-standing ecclesiastical interest in the stars. But what are they watching for? Could the archives hold celestial maps, star records, or texts describing cosmic cycles? The rise and fall of civilizations, the alignment of epochs, the return of something long awaited or long feared. These are not simply conspiracies. They are archetypal questions, echoes of deeper truths that gnaw at the soul. As we contemplate these possibilities, we must remember, true secrecy is never about hiding information. It is about shaping perception. The most powerful truths are not denied. They are buried beneath layers of noise, ritual, and institutional authority. And so the question becomes not what is hidden, but why we were taught not to look.